They strapped her down, cut open her DNA, and called her Subject 6X. To them, she was just another primitive human, a lab rat for their super serum. But then, their machines started to break. Their soldiers began to kneel. And their empire? Well, let's just say, they don't run it anymore. Because the girl they abducted is now the goddess they worship. And the real test hasn't even started yet. Welcome back to Predator Protocol, your home for stories where humanity doesn't just survive, it dominates. I'm Blake, your story narrator and the voice behind the chaos. Here, we turn experiments into empires, victims into vixens, and aliens? Well, they never see us coming. Let's begin today's tale. They made her their lab rat. Now they worship her. Buckle up. It gets hot and human, real fast. She opened her eyes. The lights above were cold and blue, buzzing softly like something alive. Her body felt numb, but not weak. She was strapped to a metal table, her arms spread out, her legs locked in place. A soft, silver gown barely covered her body, skin tight, surgical, almost seductive. 6 tall figures surrounded her, all of them pale purple, smooth-skinned, with big black eyes and no mouths. Aliens. Real ones. One of them leaned over her face, glowing fingers moving near her temple. A smooth, robotic voice echoed in her ears. Subject 6X, awake. Testing to begin. She smiled, just a little. They expected fear, panic, screams. Instead, she tilted her head and whispered, "If you're gonna play doctor, at least buy me dinner first." The aliens paused, looked at each other. They didn't know how to react, but they continued anyway. A glowing blue tube lowered beside her. Some kind of fluid dripped into her arm through a needle. Her heartbeat slowed, but her smirk didn't fade. She watched them quietly, eyes moving from one to the other. Each one had a symbol on its white coat. The tallest one, the leader, had the symbol glowing bright red. He stepped forward. Subject shows unusual confidence. Begin phase 1. The walls around her came to life. Holograms lit up, showing her body in motion, her brain activity, her blood chemistry. Her vitals were off the charts. The aliens whispered in their strange language. One of them touched a screen. Another injected something else into her arm. Her body twitched. But she didn't scream. She laughed. "You boys always this rough on first dates?" The lead alien leaned closer. No previous subject survived this dose. She raised an eyebrow. "Sounds like your exes were boring." Suddenly, the machine monitoring her heart beeped rapidly. Then, it exploded in sparks. The aliens jumped back. One of them hissed something. The system tried to restart, but every screen flickered and died. The fluid in her IV bag turned black. The lights overhead dimmed. Then, something strange happened. She sat up. Straps still locked her wrists and ankles, but she moved like they weren't there. The aliens froze. Impossible. Her strength exceeds limit. She looked at the leader with half-lidded eyes. "Limit? Sweetheart, I haven't even stretched yet." The metal holding her wrists snapped, one by one, like dry twigs. She slid off the table, bare feet hitting the cold metal floor. The gown clung to her curves. Her hair fell over one eye. Alarms blared. The aliens shouted, but not in control anymore. They were afraid. She walked toward the nearest one, tilted her head, and whispered, "You really thought you were in charge here?" He raised a scanner. She slapped it out of his hand, then grabbed his chin, if you could call it that, and leaned in close. "Tell me, Smoothhead, what does your species really do for fun?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. Behind her, doors slammed shut. Security bots marched in, armed and glowing. She didn't stop walking. The bots raised their weapons. She raised her eyebrow. The room flashed white. Every bot dropped dead. No sound, no fight. Just gone. The aliens backed up. She stood in the center of the room now, barefoot, beautiful, dangerous. "What did you put in me?" she asked softly. No one answered. She pointed to the ceiling camera. "Someone's watching, aren't they?" She stepped closer to it, leaning in, voice smooth like melted chocolate. "Hope you're enjoying the show." She blew a kiss to the camera, and every screen across the ship lit up with her face. Every lab, every corridor, every command center, the humans they thought were weak, just made their first move. She smiled wide, eyes burning. "You thought I was your lab rat? Oh, honey." She licked her lips slowly. "I'm the one running the maze." Everything went black. Then a voice, unknown, came through the speaker. "She's awake and evolving." Everything was silent, the entire lab, still frozen in shock. The lights had gone dark, monitors were fried, security bots disabled. And there she stood, in a ripped, skin-tight hospital gown that barely clung to her curves, glowing slightly from the serum that should have killed her. But it didn't. It made her stronger. The lead alien scientist, designation Core Thule, trembled as she looked directly at him. "You wanted data?" she said, slowly walking forward. "I've got some fresh results. Want me to show you where I can put them?" Corathul stepped back. This wasn't in any of the projections. She was supposed to be docile, confused, weak, like the others. Instead, she moved like a queen who'd just claimed her throne. He tapped his wrist pad, whispered into the comms, "Activate Containment Protocol 8. Subject 6X has breached parameters." But nothing happened. "Aw," she pouted, hearing the failed command. "Your toy's broken, sweetheart?" He stared at her. "What are you?" She smiled. "Yours, maybe, if you're lucky." Her laugh echoed through the cha. But she strolled past broken glass and spilled vials, stepping over wires like she was walking a red carpet. A nearby screen flickered weakly back to life, trying to scan her again. It displayed one word in alien glyphs. "Error." Korthul watched, his brain spiraling in calculations. She's rejecting the neural dampeners, the serums bonded, and rewritten her genome. But she wasn't listening to him. She had her eyes on something better. A junior alien tech, barely older than 100 galactic cycles, was frozen in place beside a console. He was nervous and curious. She walked over, hips swaying, bent slightly forward. "You, what's your name, cutie?" He stuttered. "Z Zarnak." "Ma'am, sub-technician." She raised her hand and gently stroked his face with 2 fingers. His skin turned a deeper shade of purple. "Zarnak," she whispered, eyes locked on his. "You ever touched a real woman before?" He nearly fainted. Behind her, Korthul barked something in his language. She ignored it. "Do me a favor," she whispered to Zarnak. "Press that big glowing button right there, and I'll blow you a kiss." He did it without hesitation. The security door opened with a hiss. She turned back to Korthul. "Well, I guess some of your crew can be trained." She winked. Korthul growled. "You've compromised the lab. You will be recontained." She laughed again. "Recontained? Baby, you couldn't even contain your curiosity." Without warning, she bolted through the open door, moving fast, almost too fast for the eye to track. Alarms wailed again, but they weren't just sirens anymore. Now, the ship was reacting. Lights flashing, systems rebooting, entire floors shifting. She wasn't just triggering security, she was hijacking the ship. Running barefoot through chrome hallways, she passed stunned alien staff, who all stared in disbelief. Some whispered. Some dropped to their knees. One muttered in awe. "She survived the prototype serum?" She smiled as she turned a corner. "Damn right I did." She reached a main console, tapped it with glowing fingers. Alien code flew across the screen. She wasn't supposed to know how to do this, but she did. Somewhere deep inside her, the serum had unlocked something. Not just strength, not just speed, but knowledge. She spoke softly. "Let's see what else this ship is hiding." The map popped open. Every lab, every subject, every secret. Her eyes narrowed. There were others, other humans, still trapped, still silent. "Not for long," she whispered. She reached for the override. The moment her finger touched it, the screen turned red. An image appeared. A face, but not alien, human. A man, watching her from another part of the ship. He leaned forward on his screen and said with a grin, "Well now, I wasn't expecting you to wake up first." Her smirk vanished. Someone else had been watching. Someone who knew. Another human. Alive. But whose side was he on? She leaned into the screen. "And you are?" He winked. "Let's just say I'm the one who put the serum in you. And baby, we're just getting started." The screen flickered. The man's face stayed there, smiling like he already owned her story. Dark hair, sharp jaw, a scar on his cheek. Human. Definitely human. But with eyes that knew too much. She narrowed hers. "You're the one who put this crap in my veins?" she asked. He chuckled. "Not crap. Perfection." She stared at the camera, unblinking. "Then you better pray I don't find you first." He grinned wider. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm counting on it." The screen shut off. She was left in silence, again. Except now, there were two enemies. The aliens, and the human behind the curtain. She turned back to the console and slammed her palm into it. Bam! Sirens exploded around her. Doors hissed open, one by one. Lab chambers, containment pods, Kesar, cells, dozens of glass tubes blinked alive across the ship. And inside them, humans, men, women, young, old, all asleep, all like her, or how she used to be. "Wakey, wakey, boys," she whispered. Then something caught her eye, on the far left, Pod 34X. Inside, a female figure, muscular, tattooed, wearing a combat suit instead of a gown. Her readout said, Subject 34X. Status, volatile. Serum version B. The lights turned red. Suddenly, alarms changed pitch. Not a warning. A lockdown. From above, metal plates slammed shut. Walls shifted. She was trapped in a cube-shaped chamber. Then came the hiss. Gas flooded the space. She covered her mouth, coughed, stepped back. From a hidden panel in the floor rose a tall figure in a full exosuit. Alien tech. Black and glowing. Sharp edges. Heavy boots. Voice modulated. "Return to containment," it ordered. She tilted her head. "Cute outfit. Is that your first time playing dress-up?" It stepped forward. "Comply, or be neutralized." She moved faster than it expected, charging low. Spun, swept its legs. It didn't fall. It hovered. And then, it hit her. Hard. She flew back, hit the wall, and groaned. Okay, not just an alien. This was something new. She wiped her mouth. Blood. Then she smiled. "You hit harder than my ex, but trust me, I broke him too." She charged again, this time smarter. Feint left, slide right, grabbed a cable, yanked it down. The lights above sparked. She looped the cable around the enemy's foot. Pulled. Electric shock. The suit twitched, its arms locked. She jumped. Both feet slammed into its chest. Crack. It flew back into the metal wall. She landed hard, rolled, got up slow, breathing heavy. "Damn," she muttered. "Next time. I'm bringing heals." Behind her, one of the pods hissed open. She turned, ready to fight again. But it wasn't another enemy. It was 34X, the other woman. She stepped out barefoot, eyes glowing yellow, same serum running through her veins. Their eyes locked, same body type, same enhanced build, different flavor. "Guess we're sisters now," the woman said, her voice deep and calm. The main girl raised an eyebrow. "Cute, but I'm the hot one." The woman smirked. "Maybe, but I'm the dangerous one." Suddenly, They both turned. A screen lit up. It was him again. The human. Watching. Grinning. "You two finally met," he said, leaning forward. His tone was playful. But here's the twist. He tapped something on his screen, and both their eyes flashed, briefly, white. He had control. Not full, but something was wired deep in their systems. The first girl staggered. So did 34X. "What did you do?" the first one gasped. The man grinned. "I built you to be perfect, but only one of you gets to stay that way." The screen blinked black. Behind them, the doors sealed again. Lights flickered red, and a robotic voice whispered, "Begin combat trial." They turned to each other. Two perfect weapons, one fight, and only one throne. The room was silent, but their hearts were not. Both women stood still, like statues carved from power itself. Subject 6X and Subject 34X, one smiling, one watching. And above them, a single red light blinked on the ceiling. "Begin combat trial." 6X stretched her arms lazily, cracking her neck left and right. "So, we fighting for fun or for his amusement?" She nodded at the ceiling camera. 4X didn't respond. Her fingers twitched. Her body shifted. Combat stance. X smirked. "Oh, it's like that, huh? Fine, baby. Let's dance." Then it started. 4X moved like a ghost. Fast, clean, and surgical. No wasted motion. 6X moved like a storm. Raw, flexible, and teasing. Their bodies collided in the center of the room. Fists blocked. Elbows dodged. Legs tangled. The floor cracked beneath them. No weapons, just instincts. And something deeper, like they were connected. Two sides of one twisted experiment. 4X struck first. Elbow to the ribs. X staggered, spun, and came back with a high kick. Both bled. Both smiled. "You hit like an angry librarian," 6X teased. "You talk like a drunk cheerleader," 34X shot back. 6X grinned. "Guilty. But everyone still looks at me, don't they?" Suddenly, a voice echoed again from above. His voice. "Only one of you can win, girls. Unless, of course, you impress me." X paused, looked up at the camera. "Oh, is that how you get off, darling? Watching sisters fight over you like it's high school prom night?" He didn't reply, but the lights turned purple. Seduction mode? 4X cracked her knuckles. He's watching. "Let's make it good." X tilted her head, smile widening. "Oh, baby, I always do." They launched at each other again, hair flying, breath heavy, sweat dripping down skin that was glowing under the ship's unnatural lights. Every punch was personal, every dodge intimate. But something was changing. X could feel it. Each hit wasn't just physical. Something in her mind was sparking. Flashes, memories. No, downloads. She saw numbers, codes, locations, faces, the serum. It wasn't just physical. It was feeding her information. She gasped mid-fight and stepped back. 4X didn't press. She saw it too. Both women stared at each other. "Are you seeing this?" 6X asked. 4X nodded, slow. Schematics, engineering, tactical data. 6X turned to the nearest wall and punched it open. Inside, wires, circuits, all glowing like veins. She reached in and touched them, and the ship responded. A deep hum filled the chamber. Every locked door in the corridor, unsealed. Every cryopod, unlocked. Every camera, turned off. Above them, the red light died. Turned around slow. Lee, face glowing with understanding. "We weren't supposed to fight each other." 4X blinked. "No, we were supposed to test each other. Guess we passed." The screen behind them blinked on again. But this time, it wasn't him. It was a female alien, royal-looking, cold eyes. "Subjects 6X and 34X, she said in a chilling tone. "You are in violation of all containment laws. You will be erased." X stepped forward, narrowed her eyes. "You had me naked, strapped down, injected, and scanned. Now you want to erase me?" She smirked. "Girl, I haven't even had breakfast yet." The alien sneered. "Your biological rebellion ends now." And behind her, a weapon was revealed. Massive, rotating, glowing. They called it the Atomizer. Designed to disintegrate anything that escaped. 4X's face went pale. "They're gonna vaporize the ship." 6X looked around at the now awakening humans in pods behind them, all groggy, all confused. And above them, the Atomizer charged. A massive energy beam growing brighter and louder. She turned to 34X. "Well, sis, I hope you're good at crashing parties, because we're about to hijack an empire." 4X blinked. "What's the plan?" X licked her bottom lip. "Steal the ship, free the humans, wreck their queen." 4X nodded. "I'm in." The alarm reached peak volume. The Atomizer spun faster, and the entire hallway ahead of them exploded into white light. Boom! The blast shook the entire deck. Flames spilled through the hallway. Metal shrieked. Smoke wrapped around their feet like fog from hell. Sire X didn't flinch. She grabbed a fallen guard's weapon, a sleek alien plasma rifle, and spun it around like she'd been born holding it. X stepped beside her, calm, collected, bare feet glowing slightly from the serum's charge. Behind them, the newly freed humans stumbled out of their pods. Disoriented, weak, but awake. "You good with crowds?" 6X asked her partner. 4X smirked. "Only when I'm leading them." X clicked the rifle. "Perfect. Then you take the left. I'll flirt with the right." They moved like fire and ice through the corridor, blasting guards, dodging beams, slipping between shadows and flame. Every shot 6X fired, direct hit. Every step she took, confident, sexy, dominant. Even the alien soldiers paused mid-combat to stare. She winked at one as he raised his weapon. "Sorry, baby. Wrong species." Bam! He hit the wall. Hard. 34X was already 10 bodies deep, leading the newly freed humans like a general with zero patience. X, meanwhile, kicked open a control door, stepped inside, and found herself face-to-face with a new squad. All aliens, all armed, all blocking her exit. She raised her hands. "Oh, boys, finally some attention," they shouted in their strange tongue. She rolled her eyes. "Still no dinner offers? You people really don't get Earth girls." They fired. She dove. The plasma grazed her thigh, burned her gown even tighter to her body. She hissed and growled. "You just ruined my outfit." She grabbed a nearby pipe, ripped it from the wall, and spun into them like a storm. 2 down, 3 down. The last one tried to run. She chased him, caught him at the hallway corner, pinned him. "Where's the bridge?" she whispered, close to his face. He squealed. She pressed the pipe into his gut and smiled sweetly. Wrong answer. Crack! He was down. She stood, breathing hard, lips parted slightly, body glowing from exertion. Then she saw it. A door, big, sealed, gold trim. Alien language above it translated instantly in her mind. Primary bridge. Commander access only. She placed her hand on the scanner. It rejected her. She leaned close to the panel. "Let's try this the human way." She jammed the stolen rifle's energy core into the side of the panel and overloaded it. Sparks flew. The door hissed. It opened. She stepped inside and froze. The bridge was empty, except for one chair, and in that chair, him. The human man, the one who injected her, the one watching all along. He was seated like a king, fingers folded, calm. "Welcome," he said. She aimed the rifle straight at his head. "Say one word I don't like, and I redecorate the walls with your face." He chuckled. "Oh, you're even better than expected." She stepped closer. "You used me." He nodded. "Yes. You lied. Of course." She moved even closer. Her lips were inches from his now. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "And you think I won't kill you?" He leaned forward, voice smooth. "I want you to." That paused her. She blinked. He reached up slowly, touched a control panel on his chair. The walls around them lit up, revealing thousands of cryopods across the ship. All humans, all injected, all hers to lead. "Do you see it now?" he said. "I didn't make you a weapon. I made you a commander." She stared at the screens, her eyes wide. Was this his plan all along? She lowered the rifle slightly. He stood from the chair, walked to her side, whispered in her ear. "They fear you now, but soon they'll kneel. Because you're not just the first, you're the blueprint." She turned to him, expression unreadable. Then she whispered back, "That's cute. But if I'm the blueprint, I decide who gets built next." And she punched him, straight to the floor. He laughed, even as blood ran from his lip. "Oh, there she is." She looked at the screens again. Thousands of humans, thousands of possibilities. And one woman, holding the keys to the galaxy. She stood in silence, the bridge glowing around her like a throne room. The man, blood on his lip, grinning like a wolf, watched her with amusement, and something darker. She could end him right now. One pulse shot, one strike, but she didn't. Instead, she turned toward the screen. Thousands of cryopods, all human, all injected, all waiting. And she whispered to herself, "This isn't a rescue. It's a revolution." The man pulled himself up, wiping the blood from his mouth. "You hit hard," he said. She smirked. "Better men have cried for less." He nodded, impressed. "They're ready, you know, just waiting for a leader." She turned sharply, rifle aimed at his chest. "You don't get to call me that." "I didn't," he said. "They did." He tapped a control on the chair. Dozens of the pods began opening. Steam poured across the bridge floor. Bare feet stepped out, eyes glowing. Men, women, soldiers, civilians, all marked, all changed. They looked at her and knelt. She didn't tell them to. She didn't have to. Their eyes said it all. She wasn't just another experiment. She was Alpha. She stood taller. X entered the bridge, blood on her knuckles, eyes sharp. "Reinforcements neutralized. You good?" XX glanced at her and smiled. "Oh, I'm better than good." The man stepped aside, letting them take the command controls. 4X raised a brow. "We running this ship now?" X answered by planting her palm on the console. Full access granted. She looked around. Then she gave her first command. "Seal all alien sectors. Purge control rooms. Disable their ships." 4X whistled low. "Girl, you got CEO energy." 6X laughed. "Baby, I'm the hostile takeover." The ship shifted. Alarms in alien tones rang out across their decks. Korthul and his kind scrambled, panicked, their systems locked, their doors sealed, their weapons offline. They were the lab rats now. The man behind her folded his arms, watching the chaos unfold. "They underestimated you." She turned to him. "No, you did." He tilted his head. "And you're still here. Rifle down. Why?" She stepped close. So close, her breath touched his lips. "Because I haven't decided yet if I want to shoot you." Her finger traced up his chest slowly. "Or use you." He swallowed and smiled. "You really are dangerous." She leaned in, lips just inches from his. "Then stop giving me reasons to prove it." She turned sharply and walked toward the deck window. The stars outside glowed. Alien fleets floated nearby. Bigger, stronger, but she wasn't scared. She had an army now. She had a ship. She had a mission. Behind her, dozens of enhanced humans stood straight, ready. She raised her voice for all to hear. "They called us experiments, labeled us subjects, tried to break us. She looked over her shoulder with fire in her eyes. They made a mistake. Her palm slammed the console again. Set course for the capital sector. We're going to burn their flag down and hang up mine. 34X nodded with a grin. Let's show them how humans do revenge. X turned to the group. Her eyes scanned every face. All of you were asleep, trapped, tamed. She pointed toward the stars. Out there, they still think they own you. Let's go show them who really runs the galaxy. The ship jumped into hyperdrive. Lights flashed, engines roared. The stars stretched and warped. She didn't flinch, she just smiled. Victory was coming, but so was war. And somewhere, buried in deep alien command, a secret was waking. A new weapon, one they designed to kill her, and this one was already online. The ship sliced through hyperspace like a blade through silk. Inside the bridge, lights pulsed, weapons systems activated, and war maps flickered across every screen. They were heading straight for the Kaltorian core, the alien empire's capital sector. But 6X wasn't pacing. She wasn't worried. She was relaxed. Boots off, one leg draped over the command chair, plasma rifle resting on her shoulder like it weighed nothing. She looked like a goddess in control. A woman who didn't ask for power. She took it. Beside her, 34X reviewed tactical readouts. Scans show 5 GBs. Our ships guarding the capital planet. X didn't even glance up. Only 5? I thought they liked playing hard to get. The bridge crew chuckled. The man, still bruised from her earlier punch, stood nearby, watching. You're heading into the lion's mouth, he said softly. They'll have weapons you haven't seen, beasts that don't bleed, and one project meant to destroy you. She finally looked up. Oh, sweetheart, they built a monster just for me? He nodded. Project Omega, not enhanced, engineered, faster, colder, fully controlled. She stood slowly, arms stretching high above her head, hips swaying as she walked to the main window. Let them send their best. I'm done being their test subject. Her hands glided across the controls. All decks, ready weapons. Wake up every sleeper cell. We're taking their throne. As they approached the core, a shadow appeared in the distance. Massive, silent, covered in red glowing lines. The Omega Dreadnought. It wasn't a ship. It was a floating city of death, and from it launched a single pod. One sleek black unit, speeding straight toward her ship. She narrowed her eyes. He's here. The man stepped back. You need to run. That thing, it can't be reasoned with. She smirked. Baby, I wasn't planning to flirt with it. She turned to 34X. Get the others to the hangars. If I fail, this ship's yours. 4X opened her mouth to argue. I said go. 4X paused, then nodded once and ran. The pod slammed into the outer hull. Sparks flew. Metal shrieked. The door buckled and opened. Smoke poured in. Then came the figure. Tall, armored. Not male, not female. Just war. The Omega unit. X stepped forward, weapon lowered. So you're the final boss, huh? It didn't speak. It charged, faster than expected. She dove, rolled, grabbed a pipe mid-fall and slammed it into its head. Clang! Nothing. It backhanded her across the room. She hit the wall, hard. Blood smeared down her cheek. She smiled through it. God, you hit like a jealous ex-boyfriend. The unit approached, calculated. Perfect. She tried again. Nothing worked. It countered every move, predicted every strike. It wasn't just strong. It was made to beat her. For the first time, she stumbled, and the unit grabbed her throat, lifted her off the ground, choking, struggling. Her body flickered with energy. Her vision blurred. Then, she remembered something, the data, the serum. She wasn't just faster. She was connected to the ship, to the AI, to the other enhanced. She closed her eyes, focused, reached out, and across the ship, they heard her. Every enhanced human, every soldier, every woman and man she'd freed, they felt her signal, and they responded. Across the ship, energy levels surged, cryotubes shattered, serum bonds deepened, and her eyes glowed gold. She grinned. You want to see what happens when a lab rat evolves? She exploded with energy. The Omega unit was thrown back, slammed into the wall, stuck in a field of raw bioforce. She stood tall again, hair wild, gown shredded, skin shining. I'm not your weapon, she said. I'm your end. She raised her hand, and every enhanced human across the ship mirrored her. A synchronized army. Thousands. Behind her, the Omega unit twitched, struggling to reboot. She walked over, placed her foot on its chest, and whispered, "Tell your makers." The girl escaped. She crushed the core beneath her heel. The Omega unit died. Lights across the alien fleet flickered. The Kaltorian command center went dark. They lost control. And she took all of it. The ship, the fleet, the future. She turned to her people and said only one thing: let's rebuild this galaxy in our image.